Hello and welcome to another What's Inside. Today we are looking at the Eldritch Horror expansion, Masks of Nyarlathotep. You do need a copy of the Eldritch Horror base game to play this, but it has got a lot in it. This is put out by Fantasy Flight, and it is for ages 14 and up, 1 to 8 players. It takes about 2 to 4 hours. Now the time framing is about right, but this is a great game. I'm excited to see this expansion, see what it adds on. We got our game content list here, but let's open it up and see what's inside. Now we've had a lot of fun playing Eldritch Horror, and there are a whole bunch of expansions for it now, which is really cool. Okay, so we've got an advertisement catalog here. Pretty standard stuff from Fantasy Flight. They've got some really great games. Mansions of Madness is awesome. Arkham Horror is a classic. The Star Wars games are pretty cool. And if you're real into Asian mythology, like the Legend of the Five Rings stuff is really awesome. But yeah, Imperial Assault's a lot of fun. But the Cthulhu stuff is by far some of their best, in my opinion. So here's our rules expansion. It's not real thick. It's only 8 pages. And it's pretty full color. You know, it's got a lot going on here. It's nicely designed. Paper quality is pretty decent, but I would not get this paper wet. It will destroy it. As you can see, it's got a lot of new rules, addendums, and pictures of everything that you're going to have in the box here, which is really nice. So you can at least get kind of an idea of what you're looking for. So here's our token sheets, or sheet. Is there only one in here? Yeah, it's just one. Alright, cool. That makes this a little easier. Alright, so trying to get rid of that glare a little bit. Well, let's just take the plastic off. Then we've got a whole bunch of cards here. Little stands. We've got, what, 7 of these little bases. Some new character cards and some other stuff. I'm going to try not to spoil anything for you, but I'm going to give a spoiler warning if you don't want to know what's on these cards, especially the adventure cards. Look away when I start doing them. Alright, that appears to be everything in the box. Take a quick look at these tokens, and then we'll get into the other stuff. These punch out very easily, so if you're trying to show people this without puncturing them, good luck. Alright, so we got portals here. Each one's to a different place, it looks like. Got some new monsters. So pretty cool. These have little tentacles on the bottom. That's kind of neat. But yeah, we got Hyperboreal, Atlantis, Real Space 3, and then for monsters, we've got the Migo, Shoggoth, Zombie, Star Vampire, Avian Thrall, Ghoul Priest, Honored Dead, God of the Bloody Tongue, Hunter of the Dark, Zombie Horde, Cthulhu, a Thrall, Poltergeist, and Jingshi. So the cardstock quality is good. It's pretty thick, but I wouldn't get too rough with them. Could end poorly. Let me get these little stands out of the way since we don't really need those. And we'll dig into these cards. So there's a lot of cards here, so this will take a little bit of time. I'll try and read as much as I can, but My voice will give out if I try and read all the text or anything. So let's start with these big cards. Now again, spoiler alert, if you don't want elements of this game ruined, be prepared to pause the video or fast forward ahead. We'll do the character cards first and then the big cards. Alright, so we have Agatha Crane. She's a parapsychologist. Then we have Calvin Wright, the Haunted. Oh, you can trade any amount of health and or sanity with another investigator on any space, then perform one additional action. Wow. That's a good use of an action. If you would impair a skill or discard an improvement token, you may recover 1 health and sanity instead. Cool. We've got Carson Sinclair, the Butler. Always a suspicious character. Daniela Reese, the Mechanic. It's nice they're getting a lot of these cool characters in that we've been waiting for Eldritch Horror. Father Mateo, the Priest. Preston Fairmont, the Millionaire. Action, you and another investigator on your space may each perform and acquire assets action and or gather resources action. Once per round, when you gain an asset from the reserve deck, recover 1 sanity. Safina Russo, the Painter. Right, that's the last of the character cards. Then we get into the monster cards. So let's get these out of the way. And here we have Nyarlathotep. I'm not going to read any of the text. If you want it ruined for you, you'll have to look at the screen. Then we have Antediluvium. The back of the cards have some information as well for these. This is the back of Antediluvium. And then the back of Nyarlathotep. So, pretty interesting looking cards. The card quality is pretty good, by the way. That's pretty thick cardstock. And all of these characters do have the little mask sign that is used for Nyarlathotep. So if you get these mixed in with your other ones and want to separate them for some reason, then you can easily do that. Hopefully the little cards are the same way. It makes life a lot easier if you're looking to like sell off your collection and you want to do it by set. Alright, let's take a look at these and see what we've got in this pack. This is a pretty big pack of cards. Now when taking stuff out of these, you'll want to take little groupings of them so that you don't tear up the cards, because if you try and take it all out at once, it'll screw up your cards more often than not. Then, although these are really nice cards, they feel very linen-backed, very good quality cards. You'll probably want to sleeve them in protective sleeves, just like the CCG players use. High-quality ones, so that these don't get torn up if you're going to be playing this a lot. Because these will get screwed up just like any playing card. So we've got several decks here. We've got some more action cards. That's pretty nice. Yep, quite a few little decks within this. So we'll look at each one in turn. I'm just going to sort them out real quick for the sake of expediency when reviewing. Alright. Let's get the action cards out of the way since these are pretty straightforward. You get 8 of these, and they just have the list of character actions on one side, and on the other side is a list of encounters and mythos. So there's one for each player. It's really handy to have these, especially if you haven't played in a little while. You'll want to reference them and so you can remember what you're supposed to be doing or what you can do, and they do help out quite a bit. And you probably already have some of these from the core game, but it's nice to give you some extras. There's my phone talking to me. Alright, so next we've got these here. And first up we've got the Call of Cthulhu. Twin Blasphemies of the Black Goat. Now there are some different images on the bottom of these, so some of these may be reprints from other sets. The Dunwich Horror. Beginning of the End. Wondrous Curios. Unto the Breach. Temptation. The Stars Align. In the Lightless Chamber. Harbinger of the Outer Gods. Father of Serpents. Army of Darkness. The Archives. And lastly, Aid of the Elder Gods. Okay, that's those. Next up we've got these cards. That's pretty cool imagery on there. Alright, first up we've got Hour of the Sand Bat, Cult of the Sand Bat 3. City Beneath the Sands, Cult of the Sand Bat 2. Outback Investigation, Cult of the Sand Bat 1. The Bloated Woman, Order of the Bloated Woman 3. The Grey Dragon Island, Order of the Bloated Woman 2. Eye of Darkness, Order of the Bloated Woman 1. Okay, so you can tell that these are different storylines because of the image on the back. This one's got a boat, that's the Bloated Woman, and the Cult of the Sand Bat has this creepy thing on its back. So this time we're looking at Cult of the Bloody Tongue, and this back has a different image, which is kind of cool. God of the Bloody Tongue, which is Cult of the Bloody Tongue 3. And then Attacked in Transit, Cult of the Bloody Tongue 2. And then Mountain of the Black Wind, which is Cult of the Bloody Tongue 1. And then lastly, we have this set. There's 3 of these. Eye of Light, Brotherhood of the Dark Pharaoh number 3. Labyrinth of Queen Nitrocris? I don't know. Brotherhood of the Dark Pharaoh 2. And lastly, Investigating the Great Sphinx, Brotherhood of the Dark Pharaoh 1. And that's that deck. Next up, we've got these with Nyarlathotep on the back. Let's take a look at what we got here. Cult of the Sand Bat. When this card enters play, set aside all Cult of the Sand Bat adventures, then draw the Outback Investigation adventure. Order of the Bloated Woman. Cult of the Bloody Tongue, and Brotherhood of the Dark Pharaoh. So these are your adventure setups. Pretty cool design though. I like that. It's pretty pretty awesome. If you're a big Cthulhu fan, you'll like some of these. I think you'll really dig the art. Alright, now we'll move on to this deck. Dread Countenance. If you would gain an artifact, you may gain the grotesque statue artifact instead. At the end of the Mythos phase, you may spend clues equal to the investigator symbol and discard 2 spells and the grotesque statue artifact to solve the mystery. It's kind of cool. Next up we have Through the Ages. Emerald Dreams. Time Immemorial. Sleeper Ascendant. And finally, Order of the Rising... the Order of Rising Stars. Alright. That's those. Next up, we'll check these out. City Beneath the Sands. Yeah, this is card 8, and then we have another City Beneath the Sands, number 7. And then we have another City Beneath the Sands, number 6. Number 5. Number 4. The text appears to be different on all of them. And number 3. They're all numbered down here in the corner. Number 2. And number 1. Then we have the Sphinx's Labyrinth, number 8. Number 7. Number 6. Number 5. Number 4. Number 3. Number 2. And lastly, of course, Sphinx's Labyrinth, number 1. Alright, so that's these cards. Let's take a look at this stack here. As you can see, these have numbers on the back. So, spoiler warning again, there's probably going to be some spoilers. I'm guessing that there may be some more cards in this stack, but we haven't got that far yet, because I haven't seen any of this stuff before. Alright, so this is has a number 21 on the back. And this says Nanktos, something like that. This is card number 5. Yeah, deck 21 has 5 cards. There's number 4. Number 3. Number 2. And number 1. And these are, like I said, numbered with a 21 on it. Alright, so next up we have number 2. And this is Moo, number 5. Moo, number 4. Moo, number 3. Moo, 2. And number 1. Then we have deck 9. And this is number 5. It's Hyperborea. And number 4. Card number 3. Card number 2. And card number 1. Alright, and the last one is deck number 8. And this is Atlantis. Number 4. number 3, 2, and lastly number 1. Alright, next deck is going to be these portal looking ones. And there are 6 of these. And we have card number 72, the Future. Number 71, also called the Future. And the last Future card is number 70. Then we have the Past, number 69. The Past, number 68. And number 67, also titled the Past. Alright, next up we've got these cards. So let's see what we've got here. Number 24. 23. 22. 21. 20. 19. 18. And they're going to continue in this pack. So let's get these out real quick. Okay, and again, these are divided up into different decks, so we'll do each one in turn. So let's continue on with these cards. Alright, number 17. 16. 15. 14. 13. 12. 11. 10. 9. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, number 1, and number 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Alright, now I know you're wondering, why are there 2 sets in there of these numbers? Well, one, see, has Nyarlathotep on the back, and this last set of 24 has this design on the back. That's what that's about. So that's those. Now let's take a look at these black travel cards here. See what we've got. Alright, we've got card 48. It's got a black trim border too, just like the back of the card. Number 47, 46, 45, 44, 43, 42, and 41. That's all the black border cards. Start at number 41. Alright, next up is these orange ones. So let's take a look at this deck. There's 8 cards in this deck. And we have number 48, 47, 46, 45, 44, 43, 42, and 41. Alright, then our green deck. Also 8 cards. These are also numbered 48 through 41. So there's 48, 47, 46, 45, 44, 43, 42, and lastly 41. Okay. Then we have our purple deck. And these are from Shanghai, Tokyo, and Sydney. And they are also numbered 48 through 41. So here's 48, 47, 46, 45, 44, 43, 42, and lastly 41. Then we've got these really cool backed cards here. Very colorful, like giant monster head or something. Some blobby massive evil. So let's take a look at what we got here. These cards are not numbered. Well, let me see how many of them there are. There's 20 of these. So let's see what we've got here. We've got Spreading Corruption, With One Voice. This one's an event. The 40 Elephants, Feast of Umordorhoth. I don't know how to pronounce these. Night Terrors. Ooh, that's an ongoing. Death of Innocence. Advanced Doom by 2 unless lead investigator gains a corruption condition. Oh, that's not polite. At All Costs. Echoes of a Past Life. Dark Captivation. Collector's Gift. The Dead Stars. Voices of Maman. Gaze into the Abyss. Prophecy Fulfilled. A bomb in the car. Each investigator discards one ally asset unless they become delayed. Then each investigator who discarded an ally asset loses 2 sanity. Well, that's no fun. The Rival. Leave the Rest Behind. Fruit of Labor. Edge of Reason, and lastly, Fair Winds. Alright, so there's a lot of these cards here. We've got quite a couple of stacks of new adventurous things to do, but we've also got a whole bunch of little cards. So what do you say we go through these to wrap up the episode? Oh, so many cards. Alright, there's quite a lot of cards here. There's some different little decks. Oh, they don't want to come apart fresh out of the box. Alrighty, so quite a lot of new stuff. Alright, so let's take a look at these and see what we've got here. Alright, let's take a look at these little cards and see what we've got here. First up, let's start with these. We've got True Magic. Then we've got Hemisphere Map. Item once per round during the action phase, you may move to an adjacent space. That's handy. Then we've got Black Fan. Oops. And Black Book. Okay, so far these all look pretty good. Next up we've got some other cards here. And these are Vampiric Talisman. Treasured Memento. Once per round, when you spend 1 focus, you may gain 1 focus. Time Worm Brand. Ooh, that's a magic weapon. Gain +1 strength during combat encounters. You may reroll 1 dice when resolving a strength test during a combat encounter. Scroll of Secrets. Protective Totem. Occult Tablet. Mystic Tome. Museum Director, ally. Grotesque Compendium. Item Tome. Gain +4 books when resolving spell effects. Each 6 you roll when resolving a spell effect counts as 2 successes. Expert's Blade. Yep, missed one. Grim Lexicon. When you gain this card from the deck or reserve, gain a clue. Reduce the horror of monsters you encounter by 1 to a minimum of 1. It's pretty nice. Enchanted Jewelry. Chainsaw. Blessed Blade. Astute Researcher, ally. And finally, Ancient Manuscript. Alright, those are cool. Let's see what's next here. Alright, we've got a whole bunch of 2-sided stuff to go through. Let's start with the conditions. We've got Bane. Now this is a corruption, of course, so on the back there's some slight variations between the different versions of it. Looks like there's a total of 8 of the Banes. I'll just show you the back of each one, so leave this one over here so you can tell which one it is. So if you want to read that, you can. 3. Number 4. They are numbered at the bottom too, so be aware of that. Number 5. Number 6. 7. And 8. Alright, then we have Living Link Condition. This is a boon. And these are not numbered for some reason. They're all slightly different. Oh, they're all massively different on the back. And these give you +1 to all skills. If you would gain a Bane condition, you discard the boons instead, is basically what it says on the front. And on the back, this one is the King of Dusk. Then we have Legacy of the Yithians. The Gaius of Esdagor. I'm never going to get these names right. Don't even bother correcting me, I don't really care. The Remains in 118. And that is all of those. Oh man, there's a whole bunch of these things. Alright, then we've got Headstrong, which is a condition talent. There's 2 cards of this. And they're both different. This one's a talent, like I said. On the back, there's that. And that's numbered 3, and the next one's numbered 4. I'm not entirely clear on why. Oh, okay, they go with the other condition cards, talents. Alright, so that's 3 and 4. Then we've got Meditation condition talent. That is number 1. We'll flip that over quick. When you perform a focus action or a rest action, gain 1 focus or recover 1 sanity. You may flip this card, is what it says on the front. The backs will be different. And then here's card number 2. Then we've got Perceptive condition. There's 2 of these. Oops. And then on the back of this one, this is card number 1. And this is number 2. Then we have Practiced, which is a condition talent. There's 2 cards of this. This is card number 3. And this one is numbered number 4. Then we have Resilient, which is also a condition talent. There's 2 of these, numbered 3 and 4 respectively. Here's number 3. The front's the same, the back is different. So that's the front. There's the back. And then here's card number 4, back. Then we have 2 cards labeled Silvered Tongue, condition, talent. These are numbered 1 and 2. So that's card number 1. And then number 2. Alright. Next up, we've got some character cards, it looks like. So we've got Agatha Crane. Got her picture on the front. And on the back, some text. And then picture of Agatha Crane with rational explanation. And on the back, some more flavor text. Then Agnes Baker. Flavor text on the back. Then also for Agnes, we have Blood Awakened. On this side, History Repeats. Then we have Akachi Onenle, the Shaman. On the back of that one. These are really nice quality cards. The text is really easy to read. They should hold up. These are going to be harder to take care of because you can't sleeve them very easily. Fantasy Flight needs to get on making sleeves for this size. I've never seen them, but maybe they exist. I don't know. The Earth Speaks. Then on the back, The Earth's Anger. Then we have, next up is Amanda Sharp. There's our flavor text on the back. And then her supplement card is Honor Student. And Deep Destiny. Next we have Ashcan Pete, the Drifter. Then we have Sweet Dreams. And on the back, we have Barely Holding On. Then we've got Bob Jenkins, the Salesman. And then his card is Jackpot. And on the back, Greed. Next up is Calvin Wright, the Haunted. The back of his card has some flavor text for you. And then we've got his card, which is Calvin's Will, which gives you some pretty decent bonuses, but the Back of the card I just glanced at looks pretty rough, which is Calvin's Demons. And if he dies or gets devoured, you advance the Doom track by an additional 2. Then we have Carolyn Fern, the Psychologist. Then her card is Missing Link. When you gain this card, improve books and brains. And on the back we've got Growing Unrest. Then we have Carson Sinclair, the Butler. His card is Loyal Friend as a reward. And Failed Again is the consequence. Then we have Charlie Kane, the Politician. He has Kane for Office. On the back is Dark Times. Next up we have the Librarian Daisy Walker. Then we have the Missing Book as her reward card. And on the back we have Antrograde Amnesia. Next up we've got Daniela Reyes, the Mechanic. And she is resourceful. And the consequence is superstitious. Next up we have Daryl Simmons, the photographer. His reward is photographic proof. When you gain this card, gain 3 clues. As part of an acquire assets action, you may spend 1 clue to add 2 successes to your test results. Oh, that sounds all well and good, but there is always a consequence. And that consequence is the film is ruined. When you gain this card, discard one camera asset. You cannot accept a bank loan as part of acquire assets action. Next we have Dexter Drake, the Magician. Now his reward is Sorcerer Supreme, which he does look a little bit like Doctor Strange, but he's no Stephen Strange. And then on the consequence side is Delve Too Deep. Then we have Diana Stanley, the Redeemed Cultist. Now, the nice thing about her reward, it's called Redeemed. You gain this card. When you gain this card, retreat the Doom by 1. Once per round during the action phase, gain 1 focus. That's pretty awesome. But her consequence is One of Us. When you gain this card, advance Doom by 1. Roll 1 fewer die when resolving a test during a combat encounter or an otherworld encounter. Then we have Father Mateo, the priest. His reward is Charitable Father. And his consequence is Undeniable. Next up we have Finn Edwards, the Bootlegger. Reward is Notorious Smuggler. His consequence is Known Criminal. Then we have George Barnaby, the Lawyer. His reward is Justice. And his consequence is Lost and Alone. Then we have Gloria Goldberg, the author. Her reward is Inspiration. And her consequence is captivated. Next up we have Hank Sampson, the farmhand. His reward is, I found Pa. And his consequence is congenital anaglesia. When you lose health, gain that many injury conditions. Ugh. Alright, next up we've got Harvey Walters, the Professor. His reward is Eureka. And his consequence is worse than I feared. Next up we have Jacqueline Fine, the Psychic. Her reward is Oracle. The consequence is Dark Future. Next up we have Jenny Barnes, my favorite character of almost all of these games. Probably all of them, who am I kidding? Her reward is Isabella. When you gain this card, improve eyes and brains. When another investigator accepts a bank loan as part of an acquire assets action, that investigator adds 1 additional success to the test results. And then her consequence is too late. When you gain this card, impair handshakes and brains. Your maximum health and sanity are reduced by 1. That's a pretty rough one. Then we've got Jim Culver, the musician. His reward is Sweet Harmony. And the consequence is Out of Time. Next up we have Joe Diamond, the Private Eye. His reward is Hard Boiled. Consequences, Cold Case. Next up is Kate Winthrop, the Scientist. Her reward is I Understand. When you gain this card, gain 3 clues. If a gate would spawn that corresponds to the current omen, you may spend 2 clues to discard that gate instead. That is really, really nice. but there's always consequences, and that is not again. When you gain this card, discard a total of 3 clues and or improvement tokens. Your maximum sanity is reduced by 2. Next we have Leo Anderson, the expedition leader. His reward is full party. And his consequence is all your fault. Next up we have another one of my favorite characters, Lily Chen, the martial artist. Her reward is the Chosen One. And the consequence is doomed to failure. Next we have Lola Hayes, the actress. Her reward is method acting. And consequence is denouncement. Next we have Luke Robinson, the Dreamer. Dreamer is his reward card. And the consequence card is Insomnia. Next up we have Mandy Thompson, the researcher. Then we have the answer is clear. Then we have Marie Lamb. Oh wait, consequences is inevitability. Almost skipped that one. All right, next we have Marie Lambeau, the entertainer. Her reward is Smoky Velvet. And the consequence is Evil of Old. Next up we have Mark Harrigan, the soldier. His reward is a reason to live. On the back we've got Total Abandon. Now we have Michael McGlenn, the gangster. His reward is for Louis. When you gain this card, recover 2 sanity and improve strength and mind. Your maximum sanity is increased by 2. The consequence is on the run. Next up we have Mintai Pan, the secretary. Or Fan, I think it's actually pronounced. She's a really good support character. And her reward is loyalty. Then the consequence is falling apart. Next up we have Monterey Jack, the archaeologist. Not the cheese, but the archaeologist. He has nothing stays hidden as a reward. And the consequence is dug too deep. Then we have Norman Withers, the astronomer. His reward is as foretold. The consequence is discredited. Next up we have Patrice Hathaway, the violinist. Her reward is inspiring virtuoso. And consequence is chant du signi? I don't know. I don't speak that language. Next up is Preston Fairmont, the millionaire. He's no Jenny Barnes, that's for sure. His reward is philanthropy. His consequence is festering greed. Now we are at Rex Murphy, the reporter. All the news that's horrifying to print. Alright, his reward is Curse Lifted. You lose your passive ability. When you gain this card, discard a cursed condition. Gain 1 clue and improve 1 skill of your choice. And his consequence is downward spiral. Flip your cursed condition. Oh, that's never good. Alright, next we have Rita Young, the athlete. And she has the comeback for her reward. consequence is leave me alone. Roland Banks, the Fed. His reward is by the book. And the consequence is early retirement. Then we have the painter Safina Rousseau. Her reward is the painted world. And the consequence is lost reality. Next up we have Silas Marsh, the sailor. His reward is smooth sailing. And the consequence is dark depths. Next up we have Sister Mary the Nun. Her reward is fear no evil. And the consequence is faith shaken. Next up we have Skids O'Toole, the ex-con. His reward is Lucky 7. And the consequence is Snake Eyes. Alright, then we've got the rookie cop, Tommy Muldoon. Well, it's a little glary, isn't it? Sorry. Alright, reward is Valiant Protector. And consequence is not good enough. Next up we have Tony Morgan, the Bounty Hunter. His reward is Trophy Hunter. And the consequence is blacklisted. Then we have Trish Scarborough, the spy. Her reward is breaking the limits. And her consequence is shadows. Now we have Ursula Downs, the Explorer. Her reward is Renowned. And the consequence is Pandora's Box. Next up, we have Vincent Lee, the Doctor. His reward card is Do No Harm. And the consequence is Mortal Wounds. Only a few more to go. Next up is Wendy Adams, the Urchin. As you can see, the cards slide around a little bit, but they are very high quality. Alright, her reward is Reunited. Oh wow, Mythos card text effects cannot cause you to lose health or sanity. Wow. And her consequence is Downtrodden. Next up, William Yorick, who's another favorite of our group. His reward is Commitment. The consequence is Alas Poor Yorick. Now we move on to Wilson Richards, the Handyman. His reward is Jack of all trades. And his consequence is Too little, too late. Now we have Zoe Samaras, the chef. This is our last character card. Then we move on to some more cards. Her reward is Crusade. And her consequence is Gone Astray. Alright, so that's the characters. Now we have these purple cards, which are spells. And it introduces just one new spell called Call of the Storm. So I'll let you look at the front of that real quick. This is a ritual card. And as usual, there are 4 of these. The fronts are all the same, but the backs are usually different, at least a little bit. So that's called a storm. Alright, next up are our unique assets. These, of course, are two-sided. So we start out with Jake Williams, ally. And the back. Then we have Jack Brady, another ally. Then we have ally the Messenger. Back. Next up is our next ally, Dr. Ali Kafour. He looks like he's pretty useful. There's the back of his card. Alright, next up is Eye of Light. This is an item. Because it's an item, the front and the back are exactly the same. Except for on the back is the name of the set, or the symbol for the set. That's the only difference. Alright, then we have Eye of Darkness. Okay, then we have a relic, which is stone tablet. There's actually 3 cards of this. The front is the same, but the backs are different, much like spells. And these are numbered. This one is number 4. Then we have number 5. And then we have number 6. Alright, same thing with tablet shards. That's number 1. Number 2. And number 3. Alright, next up we have a cursed tablet. On the back it's numbered 2. Then we have a lost treasure. On On the back it's also numbered 2. And we have a stone calendar, unique asset. On the back it's also numbered 2. Then we have a wooden puppet, which is an ally. And it is numbered 2 as well. Next up we have an ancient scroll. It's numbered 1. Then we have another item, magic relic, perplexing idol. And it is numbered 1. Then we have a sacred icon. This is a trinket, magical relic. On the back it is numbered 1. Next we have Push It to the Limit, which has 3 different variations. The front is the same on all 3 cards, but the back is different like the others. And this is a task. So here's number 1. Here's number 2. And number 3. And in the similar vein, we have Sacrifices to Make, which is another task. And these are numbered 4, 5, and 6. So there's the front of the card. And this one is number 4. Number 5. And number 6. And lastly, we have 3 cards for Tempted by Darkness. Another task. Again, the 3 front images are the same text, but they are all numbered on the back. And these are numbered 1 through 3. This is number 1. Then number 2. And lastly, number 3. Well, that's what's inside Eldritch Horror Masks of Nyarlathotep expansion from 2018 Fantasy Flight. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss future unboxings and reviews. And we hope to see you on the next one.